Video opens with a dizzying, fast-paced montage. A figure in a Baroque, golden suit stands atop a skyscraper, back to the camera. A student stares at a blank diploma, the text swirling into question marks. An artist holds a single paintbrush over a vast, finished canvas, trembling. The colors are hypersaturated, shifting from electric blue to neon pink. The music is a dramatic, synth-heavy orchestral piece. Voiceover. Have you ever felt it? The terror of the finish line. You've bled for this. You've sacrificed. You have poured every ounce of your soul into building this one perfect thing, a career, a relationship, a masterpiece. And now that it is complete, a new feeling arrives. Not triumph, but a quiet, creeping dread. The abyss of what now? This feeling, this paralysis at the peak of the mountain, has a name. I call it the final act fallacy. It is the mistaken belief that your life is a single, three-act play, and once the curtain falls on your greatest achievement, the show is over. That you are nothing without the struggle that defined you. But what if I told you that every curtain call is merely the prelude to another overture? That the end is the most powerful engine for a new beginning? Stay with me for this session. And I promise you, by its conclusion, you will possess the philosophy to shatter the final act fallacy forever. You will learn not to build a monument, but to spark a movement. You will learn the secret of the endless legacy. You will learn the meaning of to be continued. The words to be continued slam onto the screen in a stylized, jagged font, with a large, golden arrow pointing to the right. The music swells and cuts abruptly. Phase 2. The problem. The screen shifts to a more intimate, yet still surreal, setting. A lone figure sits in an impossibly vast library, books floating in the air around them. The lighting is a soft, melancholic purple. Let's be honest with one another. You have stood at the end of something great. You finished the degree, you launched the business, you ran the marathon, you won. And for a moment, there was glory. A brilliant, blinding flash of it. But then came the silence. The quiet hum of the universe moving on, without your grand crusade to give it meaning. The tools you sharpened for the great battle now lie on the floor, gleaming and useless. And the question echoes in the chambers of your heart. Was that it? Is this all I am? The person who did that one thing? You feel like an actor who has delivered a breathtaking monologue, only to find the audience has gone home and the stage is being dismantled around him. The praise of others feels hollow, because they are applauding a ghost. A past version of you. Think of the brilliant programmer who sells her startup for a fortune. She travels. She rests. But soon, the unstructured freedom becomes a gilded cage. She finds herself endlessly scrolling through news of the company she created, a company that is now evolving, changing, living without her. She wasn't just the founder, the company was her identity. In selling the company, she feels she has sold herself. This is the hidden tax on success. The secret poison of completion. The danger isn't that you'll fail. The danger is that you will succeed so completely, so definitively, that you embalm yourself in your own victory. You stop creating, you stop striving, you stop becoming. You become a curator in the museum of your own past achievements. You polish your trophies, you retell your war stories, but you never again step onto the battlefield. The final act fallacy doesn't just end your current chapter. It tricks you into closing the book entirely. And the world, my friend, is full of beautiful, leather-bound, unopened books, gathering dust on a shelf. We cannot allow you to become one of them. Phase 3. Solution. The visual palette explodes into a vibrant, psychedelic cascade of colors. Characters strike dynamic, impossible poses. Manga panels flash across the screen, depicting generations of heroes with star-shaped birthmarks. The music becomes an upbeat, heroic anthem with a driving beat. To understand how to break this curse, we must turn our gaze to a story that is, by its very design, allergic to endings. A bizarre, multi-generational epic built on a single, luminous principle. The battle is never over, the spirit is never broken, and the story always continues. I am speaking, of course, of the grand opera of absurdity and heroism that is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Do not mistake this for a simple story analysis. We are not here to discuss the plot. We are here to dissect the philosophy, the very soul embedded in its structure. The narrative of JoJo's is a living demonstration of the to be continued philosophy. This philosophy is the art of living as if your life is not a single, self-contained novel, but one explosive volume in a vast, interconnected library. Your purpose is not to write the final word. Your purpose is to write a chapter so compelling, so filled with spirit, that another author is inspired to pick up the pen and continue the tale after you are gone. Your goal is not to win the war. It is to forge the sword for the next warrior and pass the torch of your will. This grand philosophy is built on three unbreakable pillars. First, the law of the inherited will. In this worldview, your greatest creation is not the company you build, the art you make, or the victory you achieve. It is the spirit you embed within that work. An incorruptible code of honor, a burning passion for justice, an insane commitment to creativity. This is your true legacy. The Joestar family passes down many things: wealth, knowledge, even a genetic quirk, but the only thing that truly matters is their unyielding, indomitable spirit. That is the golden spirit that persists when bodies fail and eras end. Your work is merely the vessel. Your will is the immortal fire it carries. Second, the principle of dynamic identity. A rapid succession of faces, all different, but each bearing the same star-shaped birthmark. They morph from one to the other. The final act fallacy convinces you that you are a single, static character. You are the brilliant student, the scrappy founder, the heartbroken lover. And when that role ends, you believe your story ends. This is a lie. The to be continued philosophy insists that you are not one character, but a series of protagonists. Jonathan Joestar, the noble gentleman. Joseph Joestar, the cunning trickster. Jotaro Kujo, the stoic delinquent. Each is a JoJo, but each is the hero of their own, radically different part. Finishing one part of your life doesn't mean you die. It means the next part begins. You are granted a new name, a new mission, new allies, and a new, bizarre adventure. You must be willing to let the protagonist of your last season go, to make room for the hero of the next. And third, the arrow of forward momentum. The iconic, to be continued, arrow from the manga appears, glowing and pulsing with energy. It flies across the screen, breaking chains and shattering walls. Look at this symbol. It is not a suggestion. It is a command. It is a vector. This arrow is the sacred geometry of the entire philosophy. It declares that the natural state of a meaningful life is not rest, not equilibrium, not a perfected state of completion. It is perpetual, forward movement. The moment you stop, you begin to decay. The goal is not to reach a destination and build a house. The goal is to always be on the journey, to chase the horizon, to let the arrow of your will pull you relentlessly into the unknown territory of the future. Let's reframe this with an analogy. The final act fallacy tells you that your life is a sculpture. You start with a rough block of marble, your potential, and you painstakingly chip away, refining, polishing, until you have created your magnum opus. Your perfect self. Then, you place it on a pedestal in the gallery of life, and your work is done. You are finished. Beautiful, perhaps, but static. Lifeless. A relic. The to be continued philosophy tells you your life is a river. It is defined not by a final, perfect shape, but by its constant, powerful flow. Its purpose is to move. Sometimes it is a raging torrent, carving canyons through mountains of adversity. Sometimes it is a calm, meandering stream, nourishing the plains of your creativity. To stop the river is to kill it. It becomes a stagnant, fetid swamp. The philosophy of the arrow is the art of commanding the current, of ensuring that the river of your life always flows downstream, towards the great, unknown ocean of the future, feeding new life along the way. Do you want to be a statue? Or do you want to be the river? Phase 4. The application, the scene changes to a stylized workshop or dojo. The aesthetic is clean, bright, and focused. The main figure guides the viewer through actions represented by glowing, abstract symbols. A philosophy is useless if it remains a beautiful theory. We must forge it into a weapon. We must make it practical. So, here is your training. Here are 5 concrete, Actionable techniques to permanently install the "to be continued" philosophy into your operating system. To turn you from a curator into a creator. From a monument into a movement. Number 1. Define your golden spirit. Right now, I want you to ask yourself, what is the one, core, incorruptible value that you wish to pass on? This is not a goal like, make $1 million, or, become famous. This is your spirit. Your inherited will. Is it defiant creativity? Unbreakable resilience? Compassionate leadership? Radical curiosity? Take a piece of paper, a real one, and a pen. And write this sentence. My golden spirit is, and complete it. This sentence is now your compass. In every project, every relationship, every struggle, your primary mission is to embed this spirit into your actions. This is the part of you that must be passed on. This is the true soul of your bloodline. Number 2. Plant the next seed before the harvest. The void of, what now, opens up because you allow a vacuum to form. We will eliminate the vacuum. The rule is simple. Before you finish any major endeavor, you must intentionally begin the next one. If you're in the final month of writing your thesis, spend 1 hour a week outlining your next research project. If you're about to sell your company, schedule a coffee with a potential co-founder for a new, unrelated idea for the week after the sale closes. If you're finishing a major painting, buy a single, small canvas for your next piece. This is not about being a workaholic. It is about creating an unbroken chain of momentum. It ensures the river of your life never stops flowing. You are handing the baton to yourself before you've even crossed the finish line. Number 3. Conduct a passing the torch ritual. Endings should not be passive events. They must be active ceremonies of transference. When a project is over, invent a ritual to formally mark the passing of its energy into the future. Did you just master a difficult skill for a job? Your ritual is to spend one afternoon teaching the basics to a junior colleague or a friend. You are literally passing the torch. Did a painful relationship just end? Your ritual is to write down the single most important lesson you learned about yourself, seal it in an envelope, and label it, to be opened before my next first date. You are sending wisdom to your future protagonist. This act transforms an ending from a loss into a deliberate and powerful investment in what is to come. Number 4. Identify your Zeppeli. In the JoJo saga, the hero of each part is often guided by a mentor, a member of the Zeppeli family, who teaches them a crucial skill, a new way of fighting or thinking, that is essential for their victory. But often, this mentor does not survive the entire journey. Their purpose is to impart the wisdom, and then exit the stage. In each part of your life, you must actively seek out your Zeppeli. Look for people not just as friends or colleagues, but as temporary mentors who possess a specific key to your next level. This could be a public speaking coach for a 6-week course, a therapist for a 6-month engagement, an older artist you apprentice with for a single summer. Ask yourself, what is the one skill I need for my next adventure, and who is the master I can learn it from? Seek them out. Learn the technique. Thank them, and move on. This is how you acquire the new powers needed for each successive chapter of your life. And number 5. Frame your failures as the villain of the week. You will fail. You will be defeated. A project will collapse. A venture will go bankrupt. The final act fallacy will tempt you to see this as the tragic end of your story. Do not allow it. You must reframe these setbacks. They are not the end boss. They are merely the villain of the week. They are the episodic antagonist whose sole narrative purpose is to force you to grow. They exist to reveal a flaw in your strategy, to push you to develop a new power, a new stand. When you suffer a setback, your only question should be, what ability is this villain forcing me to awaken? Defeat them, learn their lesson, absorb their power, and get ready for the next episode. Because the story is far from over. ## Phase 5. The proof, the visual style becomes more analytical, like a glowing, holographic blueprint of the JoJo's bizarre adventure timeline. The music is thoughtful and builds in intensity. But does this philosophy hold? Is it merely a fantastical conceit, or does it reflect a deeper truth about how legacy is truly built? Let us examine the evidence. The proof is baked into the very source material that inspired it. Consider the end of Phantom Blood, the first part of the saga. By all conventional narrative logic, it is a catastrophic failure. The hero, Jonathan Joestar, dies. The villain, Dio, survives. The curtain falls on tragedy. If the story were governed by the final act fallacy, this would be the end. A grim, cautionary tale. But it is not. The to be continued arrow appears. Jonathan's death is not an ending, it is the catalyst. His inherited will, his golden spirit, is passed through his bloodline to his grandson, Joseph Joestar. Joseph is a completely different hero. He fights with cunning and wit, not just noble strength. He faces new threats in a new era. The story doesn't just repeat itself, it evolves. It adapts. It becomes stronger, stranger, and more resilient precisely because the first hero fell. The ultimate proof of the Joestar legacy is not a single, perfect victory. It is the bloodline's unending persistence and adaptation across more than a century of storytelling. The legacy is not a statue of Jonathan. It is the roaring, unpredictable river of the Joestar family saga. This is not mere fantasy. This pattern is mirrored in the real world, in the grandest legacy humanity has ever built, science. Think of the giants. Isaac Newton develops his laws of motion and universal gravitation. It is a work of staggering, world-changing genius. Had he been a victim of the final act fallacy, he would have declared physics solved. A finished sculpture. But Newton was a river. He famously wrote, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." He saw himself not as the end, but as a link in a chain. A chapter in a story. His work was not a final statement, it was a massive, to be continued, arrow pointing towards the future. And a young Albert Einstein saw that arrow. He stood on Newton's shoulders, and from that vantage point, he saw something Newton could not: the curvature of spacetime. Einstein's theories of relativity didn't erase Newton, they encompassed him. They started a new, even more bizarre part in the adventure of physics. Einstein, in turn, passed the torch to the quantum physicists. And so on. The will is inherited. The identity is dynamic. The arrow points ever forward. The logic is undeniable. The final act fallacy is a product of ego. It is the desire to be the sole author of a perfect, completed story, starring yourself. The to be continued philosophy is the antidote to ego. It requires you to see yourself as part of something much larger than your own life. A bloodline, a movement, a legacy. This shift in perspective, from I to we, from then to next, from the monument to the movement, is the psychological key that unlocks not just fleeting success, but lasting, evolving significance. A monument can be toppled. A statue can be shattered. But a river is unstoppable. Phase 6. The call to action. The setting returns to the vibrant, pop art space from the beginning. The narrator figure looks directly at the camera, a final, knowing smile on their face. The music is triumphant and conclusive. The session is drawing to a close, but our story is just beginning. You now hold the philosophy of the endless legacy. You understand that every finish line is also a starting pistol. So, I ask you, members of the Golden Spirit, in the grand, bizarre adventure of your life, what is the Golden Spirit? The one core value you are determined to pass on. What is the immortal fire you will embed in all that you do? Go to the comments section and declare your inherited will for all to see. If you are ready to reject the static perfection of the monument and embrace the relentless, life-giving power of the river, then your path is clear. You belong here. Join our bloodline. Subscribe to Golden Spirit, and let us continue this journey together. The screen splits. On one side, the current video. On the other, a thumbnail for the next recommended video appears, titled, The Survivor's Psychology. How to Win When You've Already Lost. Now that you understand how to build an endless legacy, you must master the art of surviving the specific moments of crisis that threaten to end your story prematurely. You must know how to fight when you are cornered, disarmed, and all hope seems lost. That is why your next session is our deep analysis of the survivor's psychology. Click the video on your screen now. Continue your training. I will be waiting for you.